Hello, I am Giancarlo and today I am going to show you how to install Flutter in Windows 10. In our browser, we go to flutter.io. We will scroll down and click on Get Started. Then we will click on Windows. Now we will scroll down and middle-click on Git for Windows. A new tab will open that will download the installer. Once we have downloaded it, proceed to install it. Now we will click on Next 9 times because the default configuration will be more than enough. Remember to subscribe as I'll be uploading different Flutter tutorials and developing complex apps from scratch. When Git is already installed, we return to our browser and close the tab. Now, let's click on the .zip file to download the Flutter SDK. Once we have downloaded it, we will cut it and paste it on C disk. Then we will extract it directly on C disk without it being in a subfolder. When it is finished extracting, we delete the .zip file. Now in the Windows search bar we type cmd and open the command prompt. There we will type Flutter and we will see that it does not recognize it as a command. Then in the Windows search bar we type var and select Edit the system environment variables. This is to be able to add the Flutter command to the command prompt. There we will click on environment variables. And in system variables select path and click on edit. Now we will click on New and then browse to select the root of the Flutter SDK under the bin folder. Verify the root and click OK 3 times. Now we open again the command prompt and type Flutter to verify that we can use the Flutter command. As we can use it now, we will type the Flutter doctor command to know the status of Flutter. We will notice that it tells you that it does not find the Android SDK. So now we are going to install Android Studio. We return to the browser and scroll down to find the link of Android Studio. We get with the middle click in Android Studio and in the new tab that will open use, we are going to click on Download Android Studio. Check the box and click on Download to start the download. When it is downloaded, we will execute it. Now we click on Next and check that the boxes are checked. Then click on Next 2 more times and finally in Install. We will click on Next and then on Finish to start Android Studio. Then we will click on OK. In the new window, we will click on Next and select Custom and click again Next. Now we select the preferred theme for the editor and click on Next. Then we verify that all the boxes are checked. Now we click on the 3 points and in the browser we select the folder of our Windows user. Inside it we create a folder called Android, and inside this create a folder called SDK and click on OK. This will be the root where the Android SDK is downloaded. Now we will click on Next 2 times and then on Finish to start the download. When the download is finished, we will click on Finish and it will open again Android Studio. Now we will click on Configure and then on Plugins. In the search bar, we type Flutter and click on Search in Repositories. We click on that says Flutter and then Install, Accept and Yes. Now we click on Restart Android Studio, then OK, and finally Restart. Then we will check for updates by clicking on Configure and then on Check for updates. As Android Studio has an update, we will click on Update and Restart. And again, click on Update and Restart to update the plugins. Once download the update, select Previous version and click on OK. Now check the directory box and click on Delete Directories. We select if we want to share usage data with Google. Now we open the command prompt again and type Flutter Doctor. Notice that you still cannot find the Android SDK. Then in the Windows search bar type var and select Edit the System Environment Variables. We will click on Environment Variables and in System Variables we click on New. Enter in uppercase Android_Home. Then we click on Browse Directory and select the path where we downloaded the Android SDK previously. Now we will click on OK 3 times. Then we open again the command prompt and type Flutter Doctor. We will notice that it already detects the Android SDK, but we need to accept the licenses. So we copy the command that tells us and we execute it. Now we will type Y and press Enter repeatedly until accepting all the licenses. We return to type Flutter Doctor to check the status of the Android SDK, and we will notice that it is without problems. We close the command prompt and click on Start a new Flutter project. We select Flutter Application and click on Next. We choose the name of the project and the root where we want to set it, then click on Next. Now we type the name of our company, which usually goes in the app package name, and click on Finish. When our project was created, we minimized the tabs of News and Dart Analysis. Now we will create our emulator. For that, we are going to click on Tools and then on the AVD Manager. We will click on Create Virtual Device. We choose a Nexus 5X and click on Next. Now we select the operating system Pi and click on Next again. Now we will click on Finish and then on the Play button to run the emulator. As it is the first time we execute it, it will take a little longer than normal. We will notice that Android Studio already detected our emulator and we will proceed to test the app that generated Flutter by default. For this, we will click on the Play button. Depending on your computer, the first time it may take several minutes to run the app. Finally, the app that shows how many times we press a button will be executed. Android Studio consumes many resources of your computer, so some prefer to develop apps using Visual Studio Code. For that reason, we are going to proceed to install Visual Studio Code and leave it ready to develop apps with Flutter. So we will close the emulator and also Android Studio. We return to the browser and close the Android Studio tab. Now on the Flutter website we scroll down and click on Setup and Editor. We verify that we had selected the Visual Studio Code tab. And we middle click in VS Code. And in the new tab we will click on Download for Windows. When it is already downloaded, we will proceed to execute it. We will click on Next and check the box that says I accept and again click on Next. We click on Next 2 more times. And now we mark all the boxes and again click on Next. Finally, we click on Install. Now we verify that the box is checked and click on Finish to execute Visual Studio Code. Upon opening, it will open Visual Studio Code web where you can see how to use it. We return to Visual Studio Code and click on Extensions. In the search bar, we type Flutter, select the first option and click Install. When it is installed, we click on Reload. We close the extensions and open the command palette. There we type Flutter and select New Project. Enter the name of our project and press Enter. Hello Flutter. Then we select the folder where we want to save the project. It will start creating all the files of our Flutter project. We open the main.dart file that is in the lead folder. This is the main file of our Flutter project. We're going to run the app. So we click on Debug and then on Start Debugging. And we select the emulator that we previously created in Android Studio. Finally, our sample app will be executed. Flutter has a feature called Hot Reload, which allows you to make changes to the code and see them immediately in the emulator. So we will change the title of the ad bar to see the hot reload in action. Save with Ctrl S and this activates the hot reload. As we can see, the change was made immediately. And finally, we had Windows 10 ready to develop apps with Flutter. Remember to subscribe as I will be uploading tutorials on creating complex apps with Flutter from scratch, also tutorials on the creation of complex apps with Angular Dart from scratch, and tutorials using the block parent to share code between Flutter and Angular Dart apps.